Guys, it's Bob. I'm back for part 2 of the BLS data project. So we left off with some forecasted values down here. You'll notice that our predicted values are all equal to each other, 24.87. I double checked with our textbook right here. And on page 562 it says, when using exponential smoothing, the forecast for all future time periods equals the same value. So we're good here. Now, what I'd like to do, just real quick, is I'm not very satisfied with how this chart looks, so I'm just going to delete that. And I'd like to get some time periods here to reference what month and year this corresponds to. So over here in our data, I'm going to set up a column for the date. And I'm just going to say, let's see. Let's get some numbers here, paste these values. All right. We'll paste these all the way down. This has got to be exhilarating to watch. All right. Now what we'll do is there's a formula in Excel called date that allows you to create a date. So we're going to take the year, the month, and we'll set the day equal to 1. Now we have January 1st, 2006. All right, so we've got some dates here. I'm just going to copy these over, starting with March. Our first one is March right here, 20.05, so we'll paste these as values. We'll format these as dates. Now I've got some dates here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select this data, and we're going to insert a line chart. So we'll do that. Let's move it up to the top. We're going to call it, just copy this, employment hours and earnings. All right. And now let's do a little bit of work here. We're going to name this our BLS data. We're going to name this, let's call it forecast. And then for our axis labels, we want to highlight our dates right here. And it's actually very useful to have these in a date format. We'll see why in just a minute. All right, so this looks a little bit easier to look at. One small change that's going to make this easier is I'm going to reduce the scale here. Our minimum value here is 20 and our maximum is 25. So we're just going to format this to say our minimum should be 20, our maximum should be 25. And now you can see you get a lot more granularity here when you look at this data. All right. So that's a lot easier to look at. The benefit of having your chart axis in a date format in Excel is you can click on this and we can set the major unit here. So for example, we have a label every 3 months. What we can do instead is we can make it every 6 months. That makes it a little bit cleaner to look at. Now we can also go to design, or pardon me, format. Maybe it was design. I'm not used to this new version of Excel. We want to add vertical grid lines to make that easier to look at. And I think we're good. This is a fine looking chart, if I may say so. All right. Our next step is we're going to work with Holt's method, which is a different way of forecasting this data. So our process here is going to be very similar. We're going to start by copying our BLS data. Actually, we don't quite need all of this because we don't want no, I'm sorry, we do want all of this data. So let's copy it. We'll go to Holt's method, paste his values here. All right. And you know what, we're just going to go ahead and delete this chart right now. Let's take a look at these formulas, make sure there's nothing funny they reference. All right, and I think we're good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to copy these down. Oops, pardon me. Actually, let's see. Sorry, I should have looked at this before I started recording. I'm just wondering what the difference is here. It looks like you need 2 prior periods for your last prediction. So, all right, copy this down, just Control D, and now we're going to copy these 2 down 2 more times. So we'll set this equal to this up here. Same thing. All right, that's not working. I'll go back to that in a minute, sorry. Next, we want to copy our dates. All right, so we have some dates here. And now let's go ahead and do a chart. So we'll select all these. First we'll do all right. So let's go ahead and do line chart. And now we can just copy this data, Control C. Control V. All right. So we have our forecast, which drops off. We'll go back to that in a minute. Let's add in our date range. All right, so we have a chart here. And now we want to minimize our mean square error. So again, first of all, we have to change our formula. That's interesting. Oh, here we go. All right. So instead of row 25, we want row 117. Actually, I'll just use 115. So we're going to change our 25 to be 115, 115. We've got another one right here, 115. Let's see what's going on here. F7 to 115, 115, 115. F7 to F115. There we go. All right, so apparently our values are already optimal because we have no error. Just to check, we'll go to Data, Solver. Our objective here is I7. We're going to minimize it by changing I4 and I5 with these constraints greater than 0, less than 1. Solve it. We get slightly different parameters here. And that's it. So I'm going to take a look at why we have something weird going on down here. But once I do that, I'm going to upload this to Yammer. And our next step is going to be to write a 2-page paper on this. So be in touch. Hope everyone is having a good weekend.